Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and today is a continuation of my Power Apps permission series. And in this one, we're going to talk about how to remove a user's access. Now, if you've not already seen it, then I highly recommend you watch the previous one, which is to give access. Because over there, I've shown this one technique where you can actually go ahead and run a script and then import that data into Power BI. And you'll kind of be needing that for this one as well. So you'll definitely need to watch that. I've put the link right over here below. So take a minute to go watch that one over here and then come back over here. If you've already seen that, great. You can continue with this one. So before we jump in, first, here's my intro. So before we jump in, I do want to do a recap of all that we've covered so far in the previous video and what we'll be covering in this video. So as you can see, it is a three-part series, and in part one, I did cover the give user access. In this one, I'm going to talk about remove user access, and then after that, I also got a temporary access, and that personally is my most exciting one that I'm going to talk about, but we do need to go through all these two first. Now, in this one over here, as I've mentioned before, the Power Apps permissions can actually go into three different series. It'll be three different levels. There is the service level, which is right at the base, the fundamental, the environmental level, and then at the app level. And for removing permissions, I'm going to cover all three of them. So when it comes to the app level, here's the ones I'm going to talk about. Is first, we need to find that correct app a user has access to, and then we need to remove it. And what does that mean? I'll talk about that in the demo over here. And then after we found that app, we also need to know if it's a security group that we need to remove, or if it's directly an access to the app, what are the options that we need to remove over there. So kind of keep that in mind, because we will go into that in detail over here. Next, at the environment level. Well, at the environment level, we need to find all the apps a user has access to over there. And then again, same concept is remove from the security group, which is tied to the environments. And then over there, we might run into a few little issues. Well, we'll look at that as well. And then finally, we'll end at service level. Now, service level basically boils down to licenses, and that's what we're going to look at is how do I go ahead and look at find the user, remove the licenses, and there is also another hidden place over there where I may have to even remove this one little license, and I'll show you that as well. All right, so now that you know what it is, let's jump into the demo. So I'm going to go right ahead and get into straight my Power Apps. Now, before I jump in, I want to kind of talk about a few things. First is, here is me logged in, and I am the Power Platform admin. So as you can see, I see all the environments over here. I see all the apps, and it's important that you know that, because an application, a Power Platform admin will be able to see all of this, and it's important that a Power Platform admin does that. And if you think you're an admin, just make sure that you do. And I always say that go over here to the admin center and make sure that you're able to see all the environments over there, because that's proof that you are the admin. And if you're not the admin, then none of these are going to apply. So make sure you have that permissions over there. All right, so I got that cleared. Now I also want to log in too as the user. And in this example, the user, which I'm going to be referencing a lot, is Elijah. And we're going to find out, if you got to remove Elijah's permission for this one app, well, how do we do that? Environment level, how do we do that? Service level. So this is the two things I want to talk about, is that the two same tenant, same tenant, same Power Platform login, just two different people. So let's go through the first scenario. So in this scenario, what happened is somebody came to me and said that, hey, Daniel, there's a user named Elijah over here, and Elijah has access to this application. I think the name has something to do with table versus gallery, but this is a very important app, and I need to make sure that Elijah doesn't have access to that. And it is your job as an administrator to go ahead and remove Elijah's permission from that. And how are we going to do that? That's what we're going to cover in this first section. So what I do is I first come over, again, back to my as the admin over here, and I'm going to first take care of running some scripts. Now, you've seen some of the videos that I've done scripts over there. In the previous one that I had talked about in a app that I built, which was scripts and tools to find user permissions. I'm basically going to replicate the whole thing over here, but I'll still walk you through that. So the first thing I need to do is, what is this app name? Because remember, the person who told me, whether it's the manager or the admin, doesn't really know what that app name is. So I need to find that out. So what I'm going to do now is I first come over here, and I personally try to, it's better for me to just run everything to the PowerShell ISE. So you can always come over here on your search, and you can just turn for Windows, PowerShell, and it gives you the option ISE. ISE just gives me the flexibility to actually copy and paste and just see all my stuff over here, tweak it, clean it up. That's why I like this ISE, but you can use the PowerShell as well. So the first example that I'm going to run, the first code that I'm going to run over here is to go ahead and first find what this app is. And so here is the script for that. I'm going to basically just copy and paste so that I don't miss anything. And here is the one-line script. And what I'm using is I'm using a Get-AdminPowerApp. And if you noticed over here, I've done a few things. I've put the asterisk and I've put a single quote. Now the asterisk is what is saying that, hey, as long as the name of the app contains, that's when you put the asterisk. Asterisk is a symbol for contains. However, I need to put in that single quote because my app, the name that I'm providing, has some spaces over there. So every time you use a Get-AdminPowerApp, if you don't know the name and you want to use the contains, put an asterisk. But if you don't know what the full name is, and if you've got the spaces over there, you got to go and put that single quote, which is why in my case, I've got the table versus gallery, and I'm saying that I don't want to see the data over here. Run the script and dump all of that into my D drive, into this text file over here. So let me go ahead and run it. So what I do is, since it's just a one line, I just go and highlight that and basically click on run selection, which is an F8. But if it's a single line, just a single line over here, I could have done that as well. So I'm just going to stick to my habit of highlighting it and running it over here. Now, keep in mind that you need to be at least a Power Platform admin to do all of this level. That way we just make sure that you have full access to everything. As you can see, the authentication box opens up, which is great because it's all about doing it in a safe and secure manner. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my credentials and log in, get through that. Authentication will come up. All right, man, we are in, and it is now running. As you can see, it's gone ahead and done something. It's actually doing something. And then the moment it tells me it's completed, it'll tell me, it comes up to the next cursor over there. And I can go, since I put it in my D drive, here is the file that came up over here. As you can see, it just ran. So now that I open it up, here is a very important thing. Because remember, we were not sure what the app name was. Remember, the managers just said that, hey, this had something to do with table versus gallery. So I went ahead and did a full search in my entire tenant across all the environments. And I found out that hey, there's actually two apps over there. See, there's a data table versus gallery dash trial, and there is also a data table versus gallery. So there's actually two apps, tables over there. So we need to first figure out which one of these apps Elijah actually has access to. And it's possible it could be both, but in this case, it's basically just one. So we just need to figure that out. So what I'm going to do next now is, you've actually seen me do this before, but I'm going to go ahead and now run a script to see which all apps Elijah has access to. And for that, I'm going to go back to my PowerShell module over here, click enter a few times. I'm going to go ahead and run this script. And that script, actually, you've seen me run this before in my previous video, but for the sake of this one, I'll run it again. Copy it, paste it. And here is the PowerShell module. It says basically Get-AdminPowerAppsUserDetails. I put it an output file over there, and I also tell the user. In a nutshell, this command will tell you everything about the access for that user. Now, I've already gone ahead and put in the credential once, so it's possible that this time I may not need to do it. If it does, go ahead and put in your credentials. And again, this time I have highlighted that row or that line, and I'm just going to click on this one. And it's running. Since I haven't closed the the window over here or anything like that, it still remembers my credentials. So let me go now to the D drive and see, do I see that? So yep, it came up over here, which is the admin user details. Now, if you remember in the first video which I'd done about the permission running the scripts and tools, this is exactly what happens. It shows a lot of data, but Excel will help me fix that problem. So I come over here now to Excel, and inside I've just gone ahead and opened it up, but I come to data, I go to from text and CSV, select that. In my D drive, I basically go ahead and grab this one, open it up. When I import it, again, it comes up in this one, almost like a messy way. So I'm not let this load over here, but I'm going to go to transform data. In the transform data, I go ahead to transform, and there I click on transpose, and I get all my information. So I can go ahead and now click on save and close, but we're not done yet, because what I want to do is I want to actually just see the app name. So there I can go ahead and use my favorite Excel text filters over there. And I'm going to say that yes, it contains, but what does it need to contain? It definitely needs to contain the app name. And in my case, the app name actually says app display name. So that's what I'm going to say, that I just want you to filter Excel. I want you to filter everything which has this app display name, and try to keep it as accurate as possible, because as you can see, it says app with an uppercase D for display. So that's what I've done. Uppercase N for name. That's what I've done. And now remember, these are all the apps that only Elijah has access to. So we've covered two things. We've gone ahead and covered what was the exact, covered that app name that we need to remove, that one permission name that manager has. And then now we've also gone ahead and taken, found out the name of the, all names of all the apps that Elijah has. And we found something. We found that based on the two scripts that we ran, the first one over here is that the app, the actual script, the actual app which Elijah has is very similar. It's called data table versus gallery, data table versus gallery. So now we are kind of confident that this is the app that the manager was talking about. So we've done our due diligence as a Power Platform admin to figure out that, hey, I know exactly which app I need to take out for Elijah, because, God forbid we actually remove out the wrong app and then all hell will break loose. Now, so we found the app and we know the exact app name. But the last thing is, well, which environment is that? Because consider your company, it could be 50, 60, hundreds of environments. I need to know exactly what that environment is. And this is where the last video that I did was scripts and a tools app that the video that I did there. Remember, I went ahead and showed you how you can go ahead and run this one script, export the data, and then put it into a Power BI. If you don't know what that is, go watch that, because this is basically how I went ahead and created this Power BI report. It literally takes all of 5 minutes to do this, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about this. Go watch that video over there. So now let's take a look. We can go back over here and confirm that the app we know for sure is data table versus gallery. And that app is part of this environment name, which is BACADEC. Let's see, it should be right here, BACADEC. And that app is actually the production.usa. That is basically now my environment name. So I have done enough due diligence as an admin work to now figure out exactly what the app name is, figure out if our user is actually using that, and now I know which environment it is in over here. So I've done my due diligence. Now what I need to do is, me as a Power Platform admin needs to go ahead and now remove Elijah's access over there. Now that is actually the easy part, right? Because now I just go in as me. Remember, it's me as the admin. I go in over here, I say, yep, this is the environment that I need to go through. And over here, I need to go ahead and search that data table versus gallery. So I come over here and I don't click on it because that opens it up directly into the Web Studio. Click on share. And on share, when I go in over here, it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting, because I was expecting some usernames over here. But this is great, because what we've done is, as an admin or as the app owner, they have used a security group. So now what I need to do is I need to make a note of that security group over here. And as you can see right there, it is a pp underscore data table versus gallery underscore app underscore sg, which basically means, well, it's a Power Platform. Here's the name of the app, and then it ends with sg, saying it's a security group. So I need to jump over now to my Azure AD side over there, go to Active Directory, go into my security, let me go into groups. And in my groups, I can go ahead and search for that one. So it was the Power Platform, here you go, Power Platform Data Table versus Gallery. I can click on that. I can go and see not the owners, but the members. And over there, I should see Elijah. And there you go. We've gone ahead and done that. You can also do that from the Office 365 Admin Center. In the Admin Center, you can go and click on the active groups over there. And in the active groups, it's just taking a while, but you'll be able to go ahead and find the exact same security group over here. In the security group, you can see basically that's the owners and the members over here, and you can remove it from either places. I personally tend to do it from the Azure AD side. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to remove. And once I've removed it, it could take a few minutes. Sometimes it takes anything from 5 to 15 minutes. It might also take for Elijah to log off and log back in. So kind of keep that in mind, that if he is in the app over there, this might not immediately take effect, that his removal of permissions What may actually happen is that it will take a while, like 15 to 20 minutes, and then suddenly the app will start giving him errors over there because it has taken his permissions out in the systems, and that's just proof that you've done their work over there. But what we can do is we can come back over here. We can go make sure we're on the correct environment. I've logged in as Elijah over here. And then now if I go ahead and refresh it, since he's out of the security group over here, you should at some point see this disappear. So that's kind of an important thing. But you have done your due diligence to go ahead and taking this out. One of the things you can even test is when you start going in and start playing with it, it might give an error. But remember what I said is that it can take a while, and it'll go ahead and disappear. That's the first most important thing, is that you've gone ahead and now taken care removed at the app level. Now, the second one is removing it at the environment level. Now, at the environment level, again, there's a few things that we can do. First of all is you may or may not know what the environment level is. It's because pretend I didn't do any of this, right? In your mind, you're thinking that I'm jumping from either the first demo to the second demo, but this could be a whole separate thing, right? Today, I went ahead and removed at the app level. Days or weeks go by, and then I got to remove it at the environment level. So how do I do that and get some information on that? Now, there's a couple of neat scripts that we can use on that as well. So I'm going to go back into the scripts, and it's helpful that you have, you kind of get familiar with it. So the ways I do is first, I go ahead and even find that environment. Because again, say that scenario happens where your manager comes and tells you that, Daniel, I need to make sure that Elijah doesn't have access to the prod environment. And I'm like, what environment is the prod environment? Because I may know it. And I'll just, politely ask, is that, do you know the exact name of the environment? And the manager's like, man, I don't. I just know it's a prod environment. This is, okay, got it, covered. So the first thing I do is I come over here, and now I run my first command. And this is the new command that I'm running. It says Get-AdminPowerAppEnvironment. And again, I put that in the asterisk prod. You understood immediately. What the asterisk means is, I don't know exactly the name, but it's got prod in it. So I'm going to go ahead and now run that. And when I run it, it's going to give me the output of, hey, there is actually an environment. This is the full environment GUID, and the display name is Christian Family Prod USA, and it's got that environment name over here. Now, you just know this is because I just demonstrated that to you, but kind of keep that in mind, is that this removing it at the environment level is a whole separate situation. And the first thing I had to do was get the exact environment name. Also, in this case, more than the display name, the environment name is actually more important over there. And for that, I've gone ahead and gotten this one over here, the actual GUID. So I'm just going to highlight that. I'm going to hit a Control-C. And let me go ahead and actually close this one. Yeah, I can actually close that one over here. But what I'll do is I'll put a quick paste. Yep, I've got the nice GUID over here. And let me now go ahead and grab actually I'll paste that GUID here. And the next script that I want us to run is this one over here. And that is to find all the apps in this environment. Now, what I'm doing, let me step back and show you what I'm doing, is I'm going to do a comparison. I know all the apps that Elijah has access to, right? We just did this before. So now these are all the apps Elijah has access to. But one thing this doesn't tell me is that which environment it is. So I'm going to do a based on comparison. I'm going to get all the apps Elijah has access to. I'm going to get all the apps in a specific environment, and then I can do a diff between the two, and I can actually find those apps over there, the only apps which Elijah has access to in the environment. And the trick is that you got to make sure Elijah doesn't have access to any of the apps in that environment. Until and unless Elijah has, we have removed all his apps, he will still have access to that environment. And that's actually very important. Something I should have said before is the only way you can relieve or take away somebody's access from an environment is you got to make sure he or she has no access to any apps, and you got to remove that person from a security group tied to that environment over there. So we'll look at that. First thing is, we've already done this, gotten all the name of the apps that Elijah has access to in that environment. And now I'm going to go ahead and do a dump of all the apps in that environment. So I need to go ahead and put that GUID in. It's here. And by the way, in the YouTube description, I've gone ahead and put in all of this PowerShell scripts over there, so it'll be very handy. All right, highlight that, run it. It is running. It's going to do something, and it finished. So it's in my D drive. So if I come over here quickly, and that's the one. Click on it, and it shows me a whole bunch of information over there, which is pretty neat. But I just need to go ahead and get the app name. So what I'll do is I'll go back to that same Excel spreadsheet. And what I'll do is right over here, I can go ahead and do getting the data in. So grab that, go ahead and get it from CSV, scroll all the way to the down, all apps in an environment, import that. And this way it comes in fairly clean, so I really don't have to do any transformation of data. I'll just go ahead and load it, and then I can delete these columns over here. Now, important to note is if you already got the center of excellence, then that will save you a lot of time over here. But in this case, since I don't have the center of excellence, I'm going through this really quick and easy way. And you see, I'm doing this really fast, which means it is doable. And over here, you know, I can go ahead and now use my text filter over here. I can do a combination of contains. Now, this time I want to make sure I don't make any mistakes. The contains, I don't want the actual app name. What I want is the display name. So I'm going to type in contains display name. And then the other thing I want is the environment. So I'm going to also say contains or, and then I'm going to do another contains, and I'm going to say environment name. And if I click OK, I should get both of them. So this is great. Now I can just, copy this one over here. Let me put that in, say right there. I'll just paste the values. Cool, got that. Come over here, copy that, Control C, go back here. And the reason I'm doing this is so that there aren't any formulas in between which may cause anything. But here's it. Name of all the apps Elijah has access to, name of all the apps in that one environment, which I know I need to look at because I verified that it was a prod one. And now I can go ahead and do a diff between the two. So as an example, I can even clean this up actually. I can just go ahead and do a replace. Yep, replace. And the replace, I can even come over here, and I'm going to just basically do some little cleaning up. So find what and replace it with blank. And so clean that up over here. Cool, did that. Next thing is I just want to take out the app name. Did that. Replace all. So I'm just helping you do some cleaning up really fast. You can do the same thing over here too. But what I did is now I just got the app name. So now I go ahead and select that. Control F. Find what? That app name. It says, nope, didn't find anything. But let's see if there is the data table and gallery, because I have a hunch that that app actually exists. And you know why it exists, because we just tested that. So find all. And here you go. There actually is one. And we know there's this app name over here, and we know that it is part of this environment over there. Let's keep going forward with a few more other ones over here. Patch. This one is this name of this app which Elijah has access to, is it part of this environment? And yes, it is. So I've just done a proof of, doing a quick proof of concept, but now you know that you can take all those apps and verify of those 10, 15, 30, whatever apps, how many of them are part of this environment. And now through to a process of elimination, and you can use VLOOKUPs and filters to really go fast on this. I'm just doing this manual way to show it to you. But now I've been able to prove that there's actually 4 apps that Elijah has access to. And just to verify that, I come in over here to Elijah's account, log in, went to the prod, and there's actually these, well, there's 3 or 4 of them. Solution Hub is basically just a template. We don't really use it. System has generated that, but we know that these are the 3 that we really need to worry about. So let's go ahead and now start removing Elijah's permissions over there. Hey, did you see that? That app actually disappeared. So remember what I just told you, that it takes a while for that to take effect? But you did your job, right? In this first section, you did the job. Okay, sorry, I got excited. Let me jump back into taking care of this. Got to make sure Elijah's access is taken off. So let's do the same thing, all right? Me as, well, actually, I'm not wrong. I need to go in as the admin. So I go in as the admin, and now I got to find, all right, this one, just to make sure I don't get too excited. I come over here, and now I just got to watch out for these 2 other ones. Patch 2 SPO examples, just SharePoint Online, and then timesheet app, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and keep that over here. So now I got to check on this one. Again, making sure I'm in the correct environment. Yep. So I click on this one, and I see, how is the permissions handled over here? Well, this is great because it's just individual users. So all I got to do is take out Elijah, and we are golden. So you got to click on the X, you got to click on share, and it goes ahead and updates the permission, and it took Elijah out over here. So we took care of this second one over there. Let's go and take a look at the other app, and the other app is the timesheet one. So I got to go and find the timesheet. So let me go over here. I can either do that over here, or I can actually go ahead and do a search but I don't have too many. So let me just go scrolling down. Did I even pass by? I bet you I did pass by. Right there. Timesheet there. And in this case, there is actually another security group. And if you remember the naming convention, PA, which stands for Power Apps, Timesheet Security Group. So let's jump back into our actually, I did that from the security, from Azure AD security dive. So let me switch gears and do that from the Office 365 admin side. So over here, I need to now search for that, the other security group. And there you go. It's PA, Power Apps, the same one. And I know because the type is security group. So let me come in over here and general, blah, 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 members. That's the owners, but I need to take Elijah off from the members. So I come in over here, I take it off, and I save it. And as you know, that again, we've taken out those, from the apps over there. So if you go back into, login again as Elijah, it does take a while, and we just proved it that it does take a while. In fact, in our case, it took about 5 to 10 minutes, specifically for those which had security groups tied to it. See, the timesheet is a great example. Because in the other one, the SPO one, it was just users added over there and we were done. I took it out, immediately it's done. From a security group side, it does take a little bit of time because we removed it from the Azure AD security group, which means it needs to propagate or synchronize with the Power Platform side and then right down to the app level. So it does take a few extra minutes. And as you know, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes as fast as 5 minutes over here. But all said and done, we've taken care of each and individual apps, but we've missed one thing. We've missed is that, does this environment itself have a security group tied to it? And if it is Elijah part of it? And have I removed Elijah from that? So what I need to now do is, again, go in as the admin, which is me. I need to go in as Power Apps. And in Power Apps over here, I need to go into the top right. I got to go to the Admin Center. And in the Admin Center, I'm going to go into that environment and I'm going to see, is there a security group tied to that environment? So right here, don't click on any of this, just actually click on the environment name. So I clicked on the environment name and voila, there is actually a security group tied to this environment, which means I need to remove Elijah from that. So let's jump back into the Azure AD and do that over there. So here's a security group, Power Apps, Prod, Environment, SG. Makes perfect sense. So I come over here now to groups and I search for Power Apps, Prod, Environment, SG, selected that, members, and I'll see more than likely Elijah over here, right there, Elijah Christian. Select, remove. And as you notice that I've been switching back and forth between the Office 365 Admin Center and the Azure AD, just to give you some flexibility and give you some different flavors of how you can do this. I personally stick with the Azure AD side over there, but you do what makes it comfortable for you. So we've taken care of a bunch of things over here, right? We took care of at the app level. For the app level, we took out security groups. We also found out that there was a security group tied to that environment, so we went ahead and took out over there. Let's go ahead and now see if this has finished over here, all right? So it looks like it is propagating through. It is still taking time because there's security groups factored into this. So because of the sake of this time, I don't want to spend too much on it, but here's what will happen, all right? This app, as I've already demonstrated, will disappear. Next thing what you'll notice is you will also notice that the entire environment will disappear over here. When next time Elijah comes in, he will only see that, hey, I just have access to this default one. I don't see that Christian Family Prod. That's because you as the environment have taken off his complete access at the environment level and at each and every app level. Either they were individually added over there or security groups over there. Now I want to take an extra few seconds to say that if you had any of these security groups or roles for CDS, then basically on the CDS side, if the permissions are tied over there, the users are not actually removed from the CDS roles. Well, they actually removed from the CDS role, but as far as the CDS users, they're only disabled. They're not deleted, all right? So kind of keep that in mind. Now you as an environment admin can go in and can delete it if you want, but disabling itself is good enough. You don't have to do anything else over there, all right? So we've gone ahead and taken care of that. Now I do want to cover the last piece of this is removing it at the tenant level. And that could be a scenario where the employee is leaving the company, right? The employee is leaving the company. I need to go ahead and make sure that Elijah doesn't have access to that. There's a side tidbit over here. It is very important to always, for each and every app, to have an owner or an author or a co-owner or co-author over there. It's very important because in this set of situations, Elijah must have built some fantastic apps and he's leaving. Well, who's going to have access to that app? No one. All right. And then you can do some PowerShell scripting over there to go ahead and change the owner. But it's because of these reasons, it's very important that always each and every app, there should be co-owners over there. So for the tenant level, again, I got to go back in as the admin. And this one at the tenant level will only be able to be done by your Azure admins over there or your global admins. You kind of keep that in mind. You need a higher level than just a Power Platform admin. So I'm going to go back into my Power Platform here, and I can actually open up my Azure AD portal. And in the Azure AD portal, I got to go and first look at licenses because I want to make sure Elijah doesn't have any more licenses whatsoever. I could also just go and disable him. That itself is good enough. But I want to kind of diligently go and show you this. So I go to users, and in the users, I'm going to search for Elijah. And in Elijah, when I click on him, I can see licenses. And in the licenses, you will actually see these are all the licenses that we have. And we know that all of these will, at some level, give him access to that. Now, Power Apps Plan 2 trial, easy. It goes ahead and, basically I can select that and remove his access to that. So I can basically just click on it and go ahead and remove his access over there. Same thing, click over here, go ahead and remove access. I can actually, just remove the entire access, or I can go license, or I can just go and turn it off. It's completely up to you how you want to do that. And the other one, and as I showed you all of them, right? They were for each and every levels. If it is only to remove his, in this case, Elijah's access for just the Power App side, then right here in the Office 365, over here, you've got a few flexibilities. You can just turn off the common CDS side. You can turn off the Flow one side. Basically, just pick and choose only those subsections over there, because Elijah may not be actually leaving the company. He just doesn't need access to Power Platform anymore or Power App stuff. He just still needs access to everything. This is where you can come in and you can do a drill down removing of licenses, not the whole thing. Now, I do want to end with one last piece on the licensing over there, is that there is another thing on the Azure AD, specifically on the licenses, and that licenses is called as self-service sign-up products. So let me explain. You've gone ahead and taken Elijah's access all the way, but there's one thing which can still allow Elijah to get back in and start building, say, some flows. And that is because especially on Power Automate over there, there's something called a self-service sign-up over there. It's actually on Power BI as well. Now, if you want to completely block his access altogether, then you got to go into Azure AD, go into licenses, self-service sign-up products over there, and then pick and choose these trial ones and remove those over here, right from here as well. That way he or she, Elijah cannot come back over there. Now, something you can do this is do it at the entire tenant level, or you can even do that at Elijah's. In fact, that is what I'm doing. I'm doing it at the tenant level, because you see it's not tied to Elijah. It is tied to the entire tenant. And that's basically what I'm doing, is that if you want to completely block this for all your users, because you've taken the time and the initiative to remove access, now that person is still able to come back over here. Well, you want to stop that, is you go ahead and disable that self-service sign-up products over there. All right, let's go ahead and see how it is looking with Elijah's side. All the apps are going away, slowly by slowly. Aha! See, it said something went wrong, please try again. Now what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to sign out, log out. I'm going to sign out, and we're going to try to go back in, pick an account. So usually it's actually a good thing to even completely close the browser, but this is a demo that is going on, so I'm going to try to log back in over here. But I've already got a good feeling that that environment just doesn't exist over there anymore. Because if I actually go out over here, and if I were to refresh it, specifically if I close the browser, you would notice that this doesn't show up over here at all. But in this case it didn't, because I really didn't close the browser whatsoever. But if you notice, when I come in over here, nothing. Like, there was not a single app whatsoever. It just says nothing's wrong. And I bet you this is what's happening is because I haven't actually closed my browser altogether. So Elijah by default doesn't have access to this environment, which means you as the Power Platform admin has been very successful in clearing Elijah's access right down to the environment level. So let's do a recap of all that we just covered in the last 30 minutes over there. We went through the whole process of removing users' permissions. We did it at the app level. We went ahead and did it at the environment level and also at the tenant level, just like the pyramid that I showed you over there. And it worked really well. It worked with the combination of the PowerShell scripts, which was using the Power Platform module over there. We also used the security groups, had to take care of the licensing over there. I showed you this fun technique where in literally matter of minutes, I could take the Power BI to really help me figure all of that out. And some of this was basically just taking it from these other 2 sessions that I talked about. So we are actually now covered 2 is now to even remove access over there. In the next video, I'm going to talk about just a tentative access, where based on a certain timestamp, I can give a user access. And if it doesn't fall in that timestamp, the user doesn't have access. I'll be deep diving into that as well, but hopefully this was helpful. And as always, keep power apping.